All right, everybody, welcome to the Saints Happy Hour podcast, live stream edition, Friday night gambling extravaganza, week 5. It's for patrons only, and if you're in the live stream, thanks for joining us. Um,
We're
Dylan
here
is
with
back.
Fredo.
Oh,
Right.
oh yeah. By the way, if you guys keep on calling me
Dylan,
Fredo,
Dylan,
I've got
Fredo
Luca
Rico.
Brasi waiting for y'all. I've got Luca Brasi on speed dial. All right. Anyway,
Don't get cocky just because you've been here like a month. Dylan, he
Chris
went
Cormer-
5-0.
Chris Cormer-
He went 5-0, so he's in complete command to get a free extra large T-shirt and his own Patron Spotlight podcast. I have tremendous respect for a man who goes all in on the Lions on the total, on +7,
Yeah.
and he even gave out the money line as a play that he was doing. It wasn't an official pick of his, but it was something that he was putting money on, and it came through for him. So Dylan, congratulations! You're here another week, my friend.
Thank you guys.
Basically, anytime you listen to this Friday show, don't go with my bets. In fact, you should do the opposite of whatever I say, and you should bet with whatever Dylan says.
Hey, I'm 15-5-1.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But of course,
Yeah, thanks to Rutgers.
It is Rutgers, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Exactly.
People, I am giving you people free money. I just bet against Rutgers. They fired their coach. They're gonna rehire Greg Schiano, and they're gonna be 25% less atrocious next year. And you're not gonna be able to just get guaranteed free money. It's an ATM, and it's called Rutgers football. Just do it, okay?
Ralph, I see you like at 95 years old with a cigar in your mouth and a glass of bourbon and your great grandkid on your lap, and you just tell him, "I may not know much, son, but I know you bet against Rutgers."
It's true, man. It's true. This is my greatest gambling year since Bob Toledo coached Tulane.
We bet against Rutgers, and we bet double-digit dogs in the NFL.
We do. Hey, double-digit dogs, 5-3 for the year. We got 3 of them this year. We got 3 of them this week that could get reckless. So, listen, my first pick, of course, you know what it is. Maryland -14.5 against Rutgers. I know Maryland started out good, and they're kind of a disaster the last couple weeks. Forget about that. Lay the points. It's Rutgers. Lay to 14.5. Forget about it, and just ride with me until Rutgers bucks us, okay? And until that happens, expect it to be a winner. So that's my first pick. Andrew, what is your first pick?
Well, to steal a comment from Mike Florio, and I should never quote him, so that tells you how bad I am at betting to begin with. But I really like the Bears against the Raiders. And Florio said, I like the Bears against the Raiders in London. I like them better than the Bears. I like them better in Chicago. I like them better in Oakland. And I like them better in Tokyo. That was his comment today. I totally agree with it. But I think the Raiders are a mess. The Bears go by their defense, and I actually think they're better with Chase Daniel at quarterback. I actually think having a veteran in there that hasn't totally disappointed to this point in Trubisky is a plus for the Bears. And there's the X factor of Khalil Mack against his old team. I think he's going to be extra motivated, and he is going to wreck that offense. So Bears, I believe it's 5 points is the spread you have for that. Yep. So I will lay down the points and take the Bears.
Yeah, the Raiders aren't they aren't atrocious. Like they've moved from being one of the bottom teams to like in that 5 to 7 win tier, but yeah, Khalil Mack, he's been out for blood all week. Like he is going to murder David Carr and then just give Gruden the finger. So that's your first pick. So Dylan, what is your first pick after a 5-0 week?
Yeah, so I am not nearly as confident as I was last week on my picks, but I am still gambling because I'm a degenerate, and I still think I have a good chance this week, but not nearly as confident as last week. So my first pick is going to be the Steelers plus 4 points at home. So I know this seems kind of scary, but the thing is what have the Ravens really done since week one? Like, yeah, they were impressive against the Dolphins, but who hasn't looked impressive against the Dolphins this year? After that game, they struggled at home against the Cardinals and did not cover the spread. Following week, they got blown out by the Chiefs. And let's just be real, okay? Like, the score ended up being pretty close, but they did not they just got a bunch of garbage time points. And then last week, Cleveland came to Baltimore and blew their doors off of them. So why should Baltimore be a 4-point favorite on the road against a hated divisional rival with a good defense? So the most likely result of this game is a field goal. And as a result, I love the Steelers at home who are desperate in 4 points.
So my second pick is probably...
That is the worst idea I've ever heard in my life, Tom.
Yes, yes, it's horrible, this idea.
I'm going against my coach that I love and I root for, and I want him to succeed. That'd be Les Miles in Kansas.
Ouch.
But they're playing Oklahoma, and they just gave up 50 to TCU, and TCU scored on 7 straight possessions. Oklahoma might score 80. I'm laying the 35, and
wow.
I'm laying the 35, and I'm going to put money on it. I got to go where I think money can be made.
I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like Les Miles is the savior in Kansas, and I feel like he alternates weeks. Like I feel like just when you're resigned that Kansas is awful, as they should be, they surprise you. And then you're like, actually, they're pretty good. Les Miles is fixing things.
They might get to 6-6. And then the next week they get just curb stomps, right?
I think you might be off on this. I think this might be the week they surprise you.
Yeah. So that's my second pick. I don't
running the ball.
I don't
keep going. You're good.
So
I agree with Dylan. I think Les Miles might start kneeling like in the first quarter just to run out the clock.
I'm not saying like Oklahoma's not going to blow them out, but I could just see Les Miles running the ball 50 times and like keeping it like within 35. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Somebody says this week Pats don't cover. Worst bet so far, Browns week 1, which also lost me the Suicide League, same as Ralph. Saints recline. I feel your pain. I'm still bitter about the Browns over that. Andrew, you have a pick that I was thinking about using, but since you used it, I want to use different picks. And this is actually a pick. It's not an official pick of mine, but I will be putting money on this. You have a strong opinion on the Auburn-Florida game, and I agree with it. But tell the people.
Yeah, what's the spread in that one again? Is it
2.5? Auburn is 2.5.
Well, first of all, Felipe Franks is out. So Florida's missing their quarterback, and I just think Auburn is far superior.
Well, Florida's better with the backup quarterback in anyway. Like Franks.
I mean, so far that's been true, but I just think Auburn is going to go into the swamp and completely outperform them. I think they're better coached, they're a better team, and that's going to show. And I was actually thinking that I would be more nervous if it was like Auburn by 3. That was the kind of spread I was expecting. So to see Florida, I think they're going to win straight up.
Auburn alternates. Their whole entire football history is good, bad, good, bad. Like Auburn, when you think they're going to be good and they're like preseason top 5, they go 8-4 and they're thinking of running off the coach. When you think they're going to be mediocre or like bottom of the top 25, that's when they go like 10-1 or 11-1. So I like that pick. Auburn's defense is good. Like I don't know about their quarterback. He's a freshman and they haven't really figured out how to throw the ball yet, but their defense is good. Their front can get after people.
I'm actually on the Gators tomorrow. I like the Gators plus 3.
Is that a bet on this show?
No. but
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just saying off the record.
Okay.
All right, so
But-
Dylan, what's your next pick for the show?
Okay, so my next pick for the show is going to be the Broncos +7 at Los Angeles, and the reason is that
That's insanity.
The Los Angeles Chargers are completely decimated with injuries. They have one NFL quality wide receiver playing on Sunday, which is Keenan Allen. The rest are a bunch of guys that.
Wait, are you talking about the Saints or the Chargers?
I'd say the Chargers situation is worse.
Oh, I'm sorry. I heard one quality NFL receiver. Sorry.
You
Sorry,
immediately
continue.
thought
I
it
was
Well, no,
thinking
I'm not even kidding. Like, go look at their receivers that are active on Sunday. Like, they're not like. I've never heard of these. Did they pick these guys up under the Claiborne Bridge? Like, I don't like it's really that bad. Like, so and plus
They can't
Melvin
be
Ingram
worse
back
than
on
Austin Card and Little Jordan Humphrey.
But isn't Traquan Smith playing on Sunday?
Thank God, yes.
Thank you, God, yes.
Okay, yeah, like they've got. I think they had like 3 receivers on their roster going into the game or something ridiculous. But also, Melvin Ingram's out. He's out for several weeks. So they're missing their best pass rusher. Meanwhile, the Broncos are relatively healthy and they're desperate. And let me ask you this question: like the Broncos were in 2 close, really really close games decided by kicks. What would the spread be if the Broncos were 2-2 right now? Like it would be a lot different. It'd be a lot closer. I think I'm getting tremendous value.
I can't support this pick. I need the Denver Broncos to suck, so they will trade Emmanuel Sanders to the Saints. I need them to continue to lose. I need them to continue to lose, and I need them to play progressively worse. And losing close games makes John Elway think they're not a dumpster fire and not liquidate his team. I need them to suck, Dylan, because I want Emmanuel Sanders on the Saints.
Yeah, this line was too good for me to pass up. Like, even if I lose this weekend, I can go to sleep at night knowing I was on the right side. So, it is what it is. And I love the Broncos this week. Even if they don't win outright, I love the 7 points. So, and plus, there's a good chance. So the Chargers don't have any fans. It'll probably be more Broncos fans at the stadium anyway.
So my third pick is and they broke my heart in a week where I took them in the money line against the Texans, and it's one of my toughest beats of the year, and then I felt like it was the right side, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars at Carolina +3.5. I think Carolina, they've won the last 2 weeks, but that quarterback, Allen, he's not that great. They scored 16 against the Texans, and they just every week I think they can't give the ball to Ed McCaffrey more than they just did. They just gave it to him 25 times. They just gave it to him 30 times. They gave him the ball 37 times against the Texans.
Wow.
And it only got him 16 points. I think Jacksonville can go in there and win this game straight up. I may or may not bet on the money line of it, but I like Jacksonville +3.5. That's my next pick. Andrew,
I'm betting on this game too. Yeah,
you're a similar thing on this game, not necessarily the winning side, but you have a strong opinion about the total.
Yeah, I'm not picking a winner in this game, but I am taking the under. It's 42 points, and the Carolina just won 16-10 last week. Both teams are playing with a backup quarterback. And I think it's one thing when your backup quarterback like Minshew was completing a lot of passes, or Allen came out of the gate and he had that big first game. I think a lot of times when you don't have a lot of tape on a backup, they can come out of the gate that first game and they can surprise you. Well, now there's a little bit of tape on both players. Teams understand a little bit more what those guys do well, what they struggle with. And so I think it's tougher sledding for Minshew and Allen from here. So you got 2 good defenses. You got 2 backup quarterbacks, 2 offenses that have sputtered at times. And so I think what you're going to get is tons of Fournette, tons of McCaffrey, tons of running clock, and there's no way these teams are going to get to 42 points combined.
How's
so
the weather looking?
I love the under here.
Yeah, that Kyle Allen guy has a big fumbling problem too.
Yeah, I can't believe the
Well,
Texans.
we don't want to fumble. We don't want turnovers creating short fields because that means points.
I
Yeah, I was
can't
just
believe
saying.
I can't believe the Texans crap their pants that way against Carolina at home and only scored 10. Like that just
I know.
yeah.
Well, they have a chance to
Where was
make
that
up for it
team
with the
Monday night?
Falcons.
Well, I don't know. Bill O'Brien's a terrible coach. I don't care. Like he's a terrible coach and he has complete
he
control of the Texans. It's just like,
he might be the worst coach in the NFL, Ralph. I'm not even kidding. He might
well,
be.
I mean,
You know what's interesting? I was listening to Pro Football Talk this morning, and unfortunately, Chris Sims, who's probably my least favorite analyst of any analyst out there, mostly because he continually says that Drew Brees is not a top 10 quarterback. But Chris Sims did say that he was very critical of Bill O'Brien and the way they designed that offense and just how there's no rhyme or reason. It's just, hey, Watson, make plays, do physically, just do your thing and chuck the ball down the field and let's be open and let you do your thing. And there's no scripted throws. There's no easy throws for him in that offense to kind of help get him a rhythm. And so he was, anyway, I thought it was an interesting point of view.
Watson
It redeemed Chris Sims for me only slightly.
Watson
Not
reminds
not
me
only that.
Watson reminds me of how Buddy Ryan coached Randall Cunningham when he was with the Eagles. It was like he didn't even give a shit about what the offense did. It was basically, I'm going to coach the defense. Randall, go do stuff. But Bill O'Brien
Yeah,
doesn't
but
even have that
back
excuse
then
because
it
he's an
kind of
offensive
worked
coach.
more. Back then it worked a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. And Randall
I just
Cunningham did eventually win a playoff game with the Eagles. I don't remember who he beat, but
Yeah, no idea.
no idea. So, Dylan, what's your third game?
Okay, so I had. Oh yeah. Okay, my third game is Green Bay +4 at Dallas. This is my favorite game of the week. The Cowboys are one of the most overrated teams in the NFL. Skip Bayless has been running his mouth all week on television. It's been hilarious. The Dallas Cowboys are missing Tyron Smith at left tackle, and
Ooh, is he
Green
missing that
Bay-
game?
Wait, what?
Smith is going to miss the game?
Yeah, he's gonna miss the game. So
Ooh, that's bad for them.
yeah. So I love that matchup. I love Green Bay's defensive or pass rush at least against Dallas's hobbled offensive lineman. We saw what happened last week. The Saints got a lot of pressure on Dallas. They were able to penetrate the gaps too with Zeke, and I think that Green Bay has a very good defense, and they'll be able to put the clamps down on Dallas's offense as well. Yeah, they're not playing the Dolphins. They're not playing the Redskins with Case Keenum. They're not playing whoever else that was terrible before they played the Saints. They're playing a real football team, and unlike the Saints, Aaron Rodgers can take advantage of their liabilities in their secondary. So even though Devontae Adams is out, I still trust Aaron Rodgers to go down there and put up points. And to be fair, if you look at the last couple of times they played each other, Aaron Rodgers has gone down to Dallas and lit that defense up. So I think he's going to do it again. And
Yeah, the Packers have won 7 of the last 8 against Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
particularly against that defense they're running right
And
now
that-
with Rod Marinelli or whatever.
And that wouldn't be a bad result for the Saints because if the Saints can beat Tampa, Green Bay wins, Seattle won Thursday, then you have Seattle, Green Bay, and the Saints all 4-1 in the NFC, maybe the Bears too. But that's not a bad. I don't think that's necessarily a bad result for the Saints. If Green Bay goes in there and win, and also I hate Dallas, and it's always fun to watch Dallas lose.
Well, another thing too, real quick, is that Green Bay has had 10 days of rest, and they've had 10 days to think about their loss on national television, so they'll be motivated to win.
Oh yeah, that's true. So now we get into the local games. I forgot to mix in Tulane. Tulane's at Army. I don't know either of you have a strong opinion of that game. Tulane is favored by.
I saw that. I specifically stayed away from it. I don't like that game. I don't know why. I don't want
I think
to bet
Army's going to crush them. I think Army's going to run them to the ground.
I
I love
mean,
Tulane.
Tulane. It was fun when they beat Houston, but their passing game is god awful. But we'll see. If Tulane goes 4-1 and beats Army, they have a chance to get to a really nice bowl. So that I don't know if people in the chat room necessarily have a theory. I was asking people for their worst beats of the year, and some people have some interesting one. Uh, so let's get to it. LSU, Andrew, is a 27.5 point favorite against Utah State. Utah State is 3-1. They're a
Yeah,
decent
they're pretty
team.
good.
They're pretty
Yeah.
good. Uh, the thing is with LSU is their offense is not just at a level where it's historic for LSU. They're putting up yards that is one of the most historic paces in the history of the SEC. Now maybe that'll go down, but right now it's hard to look at them and not lay these giant point spreads even though it's 27.5 because they just score so much. It's you could say, well, Utah State's going to score 30. I could say to you, I don't care. LSU's going to drop 60. So where are you on this game? Right now the line is LSU 27.5.
I'm taking LSU. I just think Aranda is embarrassed about how his defense looked against Vanderbilt and all those garbage teams that they've
Yeah.
played. And I just think they've had a week off. They've been able to rest some of their injuries. And I just think they're going to come out and take this opponent seriously. That's my opinion. I just think LSU is going to be charged up and want to perform and put a good foot forward because remember, they've also dropped a spot in the rankings by not playing.
God, you're right.
And I just think LSU needs to have a good showing here. I think they find it's important. So I don't think Orgeron is going to shy away from running up the score. We already saw him do that earlier this season against the bottom feeder. So I don't think he's going to have any problem running up the score. I think Aranda is going to be motivated for the defense to have a really good showing. And this is kind of a tough opponent. I mean, Utah State offensively looks good and their quarterback's pretty good. So I think this will be a good resume builder for them to shut that offense down. So I like LSU having a great performance after some rest, and I think they're going to beat up on Utah State and cover the points.
I hate the 11 o'clock kickoff. It does weird things to LSU. That's the only thing that gives me pause to lay in this 27.5. But I will say this. The good news is, for whatever reason, I don't know why, CBS decided to pick up Alabama and Texas A&M. So that means LSU Florida in Tiger Stadium is going to be a night game on ESPN, which is fantastic. I'm taking LSU in this game too, but it's my pick. I just worry about Utah being decent and the 11 o'clock kickoff. Um, Utah State backdooring this late. Dylan, you are going the opposite way.
Well, here's the thing. Am I allowed to change my pick because I thought about something
You can change your pick.
Gave me pause? Okay. Because listen, here's the thing. Okay, I'm going to change it. I'm going to tell you why. Because I forgot this is an 11 a.m. kickoff. So this might be early for LSU, but this is even earlier for Utah State.
I didn't think of that.
It's
Good
a
point.
9 a.m. kickoff game for Utah State, right? Mountain time? No,
Yeah.
10 o'clock.
It would
So,
be 10, yeah.
God, man, I hate this pick. I have to take LSU because you're right. Because they dropped. I have to do it. I hate this pick. But yeah, I'm going with you guys. I'm swallowing the points with LSU. I have to do it.
So
I hate
now
Arkansas.
we get to the Saints, and I don't bet on the Saints much, but I have bet them this year. I bet them on the money line in Seattle.
Yeah, there are no Rutgers for you.
Yeah, no Rutgers. I bet them on the money line in Seattle, and I bet them on the money line in Seattle, and I bet them against the Texans, and they won, but they didn't cover. So I've stayed away the rest of them. This game is a complete stay away from me. I fluctuated back and forth. I'm taking the Saints because I took the Saints on the big show Monday night, and I took them in my WWL column. I feel like if I switch now, that's just kind of bullshit because then no matter how it goes, I can be like, I got it right. But I try to be consistent. Uh, I'm. It's not even necessarily that I think it. I look at that Tampa defense, Andrew, and It's now or never for Teddy Bridgewater. He's got to do something. I think the Saints are going to be able to move the ball and do some fun stuff on offense and get into the mid 20s. And I'm hoping that combined with Jameis Winston doing Jameis Winston type activities will get the Saints to 4-1. But my conviction on this game, I have none.
Yeah, I like Tampa in this game, and I've been picking against the Saints. This will be the third week in a row, and that's Teddy continues to. It's been a good omen for Teddy when I bet against him. So I see no reason to stop this. If I'm wrong again, then I'll just view it as the Saints spiting me, which I would happily accept. So I'm going with Tampa.
Dylan,
Yeah,
who do you have in
and
this game?
yeah, my thing about this game is I'm really terrified of Tampa, but the thing is I just think the Saints are going to whip the Buccaneers in the trenches, both on offense and on defense. I think our offensive line is way better than their defensive line, and our defensive line is way better than their offensive line. When we saw what our defensive line did to Dallas's offensive line last week, Tampa Bay probably has the worst left tackle in the NFL, not named Newhouse. And I just think Jameis is going to be pressured. Yeah. I think Jameis is going to be pressured a lot, and he's going to make mistakes. I can see him self-destructing and throwing a couple of picks, even though I think the Buccaneers will put up points. But this is my prediction, okay? It's going to be 34-30 late in the fourth quarter, and the Buccaneers are going to have the ball. And Jameis Winston's going to throw an interception, and the Saints are going to win the game. That's my prediction. Saints are going to win and cover.
Yeah, that's all the picks. The one thing I will say is the double-digit dog investment portfolio for Saints Happy Hour, as Andrew said at the beginning, we bet every double-digit underdog, and they got 3 this week. New England is laying.
That's for our kids' college fund.
Yes, New England is laying 15.5 at Washington. Philly is giving 14.5 to the Jets at home, and the Chiefs are giving the Colts. Chiefs are giving 11 to the Colts at home. The only one of those. The thing is, Washington, the Jets, and Miami are so atrocious that I'm sort of amazed that the betting every double-digit underdog is 5-3 for the year, because those teams are so ungodly bad that it's just it I bet them, but I know that I'm going to look at that Washington score in the second quarter and it's going to be 21-0. Like, Washington's going to play. They could play till Thursday and not score on New England. So
if you'd avoid the Dolphins, you'd be 5-0.
Yeah. So to wrap up the show, I forgot to do this at the beginning because I'm a dumbass. But my bookie is actually doing something really great and sponsoring this show specifically and giving you guys a great offer. You go to mybookie.ag, use the code CHAIR, and they give you 100% sign-up bonus if you make a minimum deposit of $100. So go to MyBookie. They have the best online gambling site. You can do in-game bets. You can bet games after halftime. If you're losing the first half, you can try to switch the side, win the second half. You can bet fantasy points. You can get props. You can do it all. Go to mybookie.ag right now. Do a minimum deposit of $100. They will do 100% matching bonus. MyBookie, use the code CHAIR. Do it. MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid. Terms and conditions apply. Everybody,
I cannot wait until we get later into the month and I can start betting on Pelicans preseason games.
The Pelicans season ticket crunch is amazing. They are going to have so many people at the Pelicans scrimmage that they had to give assigned seats to ticket holders because they're thinking they're going to fill the Smoothie King Center for a freaking Pelicans scrimmage, which Andrew is just bananas. It really is. So
it's unbelievable. Yeah.
So everybody, look, this podcast happens because we have $1,000 in patron donations a month, and we promised people we would do this all year. But if you're listening to this show and you're not a patron, you should sign up for $7 a month. You really should do $10 a month so you can get the podcast every day, and you can get Andrew's grades and our grades podcast. It's $10 a freaking month. You get all that, plus you get a koozie and a magnet. It's the best $10 you're going to spend all football season, I promise. So, Dylan, my friend, good luck to you. You're not totally committed to one team like you were with the Lions last week. You got a little balance going on this week. But good luck to you, and thanks to everybody in the chat room for joining us. And remember, if you only do one thing this week, bet against Rutgers football. So have a great gambling weekend, everybody. Good luck, and we will see you on Monday.